2:45. Okay, perfect. Beautiful. All right, and welcome to episode number 18 of Cody's Business Show with my friend Daniel. How the heck are you, man? How's life?
Good, man. It's good to see you. Things are going well. We're getting into the summertime. Things are getting busy, and got the new family started. So we're just raising the newborn, and I know you know how that goes with your family.
Oh
And
yeah,
so loving every second.
we were catching up a second ago, and you said you lost a couple clients probably because
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of times, my wife hates it, but I could probably I do as much business between the hours of 5 and 8 o'clock as I do the whole rest of the day between 8 and 5,
Sure.
because that's when everybody else gets off work and they want to talk to me. So, I mean, if somebody calls me at 7 o'clock, I'm sorry. There was a couple of times where I probably lost a sale because I just would rather have dinner with my wife and my baby before she goes to sleep. So, it is what it is. So
I love that so much.
Got to keep that balance, So
Yeah,
it's not all about the money.
yeah. My whole motto on social media is work super hard, enjoy your family, and so
Mm-hmm.
that's what it's all about, man. I freaking love that. So
Yeah.
cool. So we met working for the Big Red Insurance Company
Mm-hmm.
that shall not be named,
Yep.
and and then you later went out and I mean you were on track to be the guy for that company and start your own branch and and move up the ranks, so to speak, with them, and you decided to go out on your own. I'd love to hear about your story and anything you're willing to share. What led you to go that way, and probably a little bit more risky, a little bit uh, harder. I'd imagine, going because and if you want to explain independent versus captive,
Mm-hmm.
feel free.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So I was on track to probably start my own agency within probably about a year of where we were before. So I just did the full dive into captive versus independent. So, captive, just brief summary. If you captive, you only quote for one insurance company. If you're independent, those that allow you to quote for multiple companies who allow independents to quote for them, you can quote for them. And so that gives you, if you go the independent route, you have the option of quoting a lot more companies. Now, most of the time, well, actually every time, if there's a company that's captive, you can't quote for them if you're independent. So that limits you on that side of things. But for me, and you'll understand this as well because you do a lot with Amazon. But for me, Amazon has really taken the shopping experience in every aspect and ingrained that into the consumer. And so for me, every consumer wants to go to one place and have multiple options. They don't want to go to one place and only have one option. Specifically when it comes to insurance, when that one option may just be, hey, actually, we're not even going to tell you a price. We don't want to give you a price. Go somewhere else,
Yeah,
And so for me, after digging into all the details, figuring it out, independent was going to be the route for me for sure. And then after doing that, I did some research, dug into some of the different independent companies that kind of help you get started. You can be a franchise owner for them. There is always the option of you can completely start your own from scratch, but there's a lot that I didn't even know before I started my agency how much there was that you have to do
yeah.
to do that completely on your own. And so, and actually, I don't know if you remember this, but I actually called you and I asked you, hey, have you ever done research on Goosehead? You said that you didn't really like the model, actually, you said, but I didn't listen to you. I didn't
Yeah.
listen to you.
Well, you're doing great.
But for me, it worked out perfectly because I'm with Goosehead. I think I said that, but I'm with Goosehead Insurance. I'm a franchise owner for them. They do get a percentage, but they help me in so many ways. They handle all of the commissions. So
Yeah.
they send me one commission check a month instead of me taking and receiving checks every single day and having to send
Sure.
back early cancellations and blah, blah, and all of that mess. It allows me to do what I need to do. They also help me get all my appointments. So if I want a new company, if there's a new company that comes to Georgia, like easy example, most recent one was Branch. And before that, Openly Insurance. They both came to Georgia within the last year.
Yeah.
I didn't have to contact them and do kind of an interview and agree on a contract and agree on how many sales I was going to do every month with them and agree on all these different pieces to keep the appointment. Goosehead goes, they get me the appointment and they say, you're good to go. I don't have to sell a certain amount of minimum policies with any of my companies to keep the keep the active appointment with them and all of that. So there's just a million things that allow me to just go find good customers
Yeah.
that want to save money. So for me, it's been massive. It's been huge. And I started that in June of 2021. So coming right up on 2 years now.
Jeez. Has
Yeah.
it been that long? That's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So coming up on 2 years, I wouldn't change a thing. It's been amazing. I actually just lined up a new line of credit to kind of start ramping up a little bit more on what I'm doing. And so, and actually, I probably in Q4 will finally hire my first full-time producer. So working towards doing all of that, and it's going amazing. I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, for people who are not familiar with insurance, basically you go to quote your car insurance, your home insurance. I don't know. Do you do life insurance? Is that
Yeah.
something? Yeah, life
Yep.
insurance, business insurance.
Yep.
So I know a lot of people that I know, personally, or I know through social media, they're doing Amazon business like myself. If you're quoting your business insurance, a policy like that, you go
Yep.
to State Farm or one of these other big companies that are captive, they're going to quote it one time and that's it. And that's your only option with them.
Yep.
Whereas Daniel, he has access to all of these companies. He's an independent. And so he can quote it and he's not really working for them. He's working for you. So he's going to come and say, look, I quoted it with 4 different companies. One of them is not very good. Here's the 3 options that are your best. And then here's the one that's the best rate, and so that having that ability to quote with all these different people, that's what it's a big deal. So I'm glad to go hear it's going good. I had I didn't hear great things about Goosehead but before, and so I'm really happy to hear that it's going well for you.
Good. I appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah. What I've noticed is it just depends on the agent.
Sure.
It could work well for one agent. It could not work well for another agent, especially for certain agents that maybe owned a different kind of agency before. They may have a very different way they want to do it. I will
Sure.
say that if you're going to do a Goosehead agency, you have to do it the way that they want you to do it.
Yes.
And I knew that going in. So, you kind of, there's definitely pieces of that. But what I'll say on that real quick, we currently have 66 insurance companies in Georgia that we're doing in my agency. So that's where we're at right that. And I would say, I think currently one company just pulled out for Georgia, but I have 9 business insurance companies that I'm doing currently. Yeah. So
there's 60 something that you can quote, like you personally can quote through. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, our agency quotes 66 insurance companies.
That's insane. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Congrats.
Now, don't get me wrong. That's not like, oh, we have 66 auto insurance companies. Some of those are flood insurance businesses, but yeah, 66 different companies. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I hesitate to share this on my business here. I lost you.
I just fell down.
You're good. I hesitate to share this because I'm on all my social media. I'm just the e-commerce, Amazon. That's all I really talk about. I think I'll start an insurance agency one day. We started a farmers agency. Me and a buddy did. Somebody who was a buddy at least at the time. We started one and we did really, really well with it, and we grew it. I forget what number we grew it. It was 2 million or 3 million or something book size, and then it went really well, and I enjoyed the process of it, like what you're talking about, getting a line of credit and going. I'm assuming what is it? Leads that you're going to be investing in, or the employee that you mentioned? Is that kind of the plan?
So the plan with the money mainly is, the employee will be part of that, and then honestly, I don't buy any internet leads at all.
Oh wow!
It is a model I don't think it's a very successful model unless you just really throw money at it big time. And then those leads are not the kind of lead, like for me, I as much as I want to help everybody, I want a customer who's gonna stick around. I've noticed a lot with internet leads, that person is a 6-month policy person, and then they're gonna go move it in another 6 months. And that's easier with me because I have a lot of companies. So if somebody's like, hey, I want to check prices again, I can check prices for them
with one of the other companies.
Yeah, but I've noticed that with internet leads, those people are just they're not very loyal to you. They don't. I hate to say this because it's not true of everybody. There's great internet lead people. They just like to search online. But there's some disrespect that can be thrown from those customer internet leads. I'm probably going to make somebody mad about that, but I've noticed it a lot where they have no respect for you. All they do is yell at you basically. And this is not the kind of person I want. So
Yeah, yeah,
I do a lot of the personal networking, personal marketing, networking at events. I join a lot of business associations. I'll do their
sure.
membership fees. I'll get into their directories, things like that.
Yeah,
So sure, a lot of that is what you're asking me. The marketing budget is a lot of that, but it's not for internet leads. No.
internet leads. Okay,
Mm-mm.
interesting.
Yeah.
Are you doing any content? Are you putting any content out? Daniel's agency. Here's the baby. Here, holding your phone up, talking about you know your day to day.
I So yes, not the baby though.
Okay, sure.
I haven't put the baby on there, just because for me. So yes, Facebook. I do a lot on Facebook. I do a little bit
Okay,
on Instagram. I haven't dove into TikTok. I should,
yeah,
because I've noticed a lot of people are actually shopping for insurance on TikTok. So that
sure.
is a plan for me, but mainly just almost exclusively Facebook,
Yeah,
and I try to get a lot of Google reviews. It's one of my main focuses too, just because it's a lot of people, like I said, will Google. They may not do internet leads where they'll generate leads on a website, but they'll go to Google to find a good agent near them who has good
yeah, sure.
reviews.
Yeah,
So I try to put a lot of focus on getting Google, but as far as actual social media postings, things like that, yeah, Facebook all the time. I'm in a lot of similar situation there that I talked about. I'm in a lot of community pages, neighborhood pages, networking pages for all the surrounding counties for me. For those customers who are active in those pages as well, they kind of actually do a lot of organic networking for me, because they will see a post that maybe I didn't see and they'll tag me in it and they'll say, hey, you need to call this guy. And so I'll
yeah,
get a lot from that. But mainly just Facebook. I haven't put the baby on there because I'll pretty much accept anybody on my Facebook page.
yeah, yeah,
And no offense to anybody, but I don't know all these people, so the
yeah,
baby's not on there as far as
yeah,
answering that question. But yes, Facebook is my huge social media push. Yeah.
yeah. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the guy on TikTok that I wish I could remember his name. He records the videos of him door knocking and then he goes up and like just says terribly inappropriate things trying to sell people insurance.
No.
No, okay.
Uh-uh.
I would look it up, but I probably can't find it fast enough. I'll send you a link later.
Okay.
It's hilarious, and he's making just funny videos. But he's getting tons of views, and then you can see in the comments, people are actually like, "Yeah, but can you really quote my car insurance?" Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and he's getting that kind of traction from it, and so I think
That's
it's
funny. I've seen the window guy. He knocks and asks if he can clean their windows, and he's pretty funny too. I don't know if you've
yeah,
seen his,
I
but
had that.
man, same thing there. I know that I've seen the comments on that where they're like, "Hey, where are you? Like, I want
Yeah,
you to come to my house." So it's
so
something I'd love to dive into. I just haven't.
yeah. Okay, so one of the things that I like to ask people that come on my show, if there's somebody who is you know, just getting off of drugs or like is kind of in an underprivileged situation or something like that, and they want to break into your industry, they want to do what you do. Is it possible? Is and maybe say like a 20-something-year-old kid that wants to get a real job or a starter, a business or whatever. What advice would you give them going in? And I guess that path would look in your industry. It'd look like they come in and work for an agent, smiling and dialing, calling, trying to call and get quotes, and then they get sales, and then eventually work their way up to either starting a captive agency or starting, something like what you're doing. Any advice for that person?
Yeah, so I mean, you pretty much hit it on the head. I would say I've talked to a few people who are maybe in banking industry or a couple different other industries, and then they decided to jump in and open an agency. I will
Mhm.
say that from just talking to them, I don't know that because I did step in and worked for somebody else first, but from just talking to them, that sounded incredibly difficult to do because usually in that situation you're building a team right away, you're trying to convince your team to do sales, and you don't even know a good
Right.
sales process yourself,
Yeah.
let alone the ins and outs of insurance that they kind of just take time. You can't just download that information right off the top.
Yeah,
There's so many
right.
different scenarios you run into, as you know, when you get somebody who calls. Every situation is different, and so that's kind of the piece for somebody who would have the capital to actually start it anyway. But in the question that you asked, if you're young, you're trying to just get into a certain job, yeah, I would pick a good agent who looks like they've been doing this for a while. I would kind of steer away from somebody who just started,
Sure.
because
Yeah.
you just won't get the same life experience that you may, or business experience that you would want from somebody else. But yeah, pick an agent. He may not want me to say this, but there's a great agent where I've seen this agent has promoted probably 8 to 10 different people into their own agency. It's Steve Cannon out of Woodstock,
Okay.
and he's been doing it for a very long time. He's probably pretty close to retirement, I would guess. But I actually interviewed with him way back in the day. Like I said, he's pushed about 8 or 10 people through his office to their own agency. So my recommendation would be pick an office where they're established. They've got a great history. They've got great reviews. They're well spoken of in the community. Go see them, and just learn. Just dig in
Yeah.
and learn. It's going to be really tough. When I first started, I wanted to quit at 2 months. I almost did.
Yeah. Everybody does. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just decided, I've committed to this. Let me give it 6 months. After that, it really gets a lot easier. Starts to kick up, and you start, getting your groove. So that would be my recommendation. Find a good agency that's been around a while. Just get in there and just push. The toughest thing is you're going to make mistakes. Be okay with that, and ask as many questions as possible. Make those mistakes quickly and have short-term memory. You want to learn from those, but just forget about them, because if there can be a situation that I ran into as well, where when I made my first mistake, I didn't want to pick up the phone again because I didn't want to make another mistake. And so once I finally got past that, it is what it is. It's going to happen to everybody. There is a way to fix those situations. You can't be scared of making mistakes. Don't do anything too risky or too quickly. I'm not saying do something you think is wrong,
Sure.
but just be okay with, hey, this might get, I might not do everything. You won't do everything perfectly. That would be the better way to put it. You won't do everything perfectly, and it'll get figured out. Get in there and learn as much as you can, and just more than just about insurance, learn about how they treat their employees, how they hire, how they train, how they handle business, finances. Yeah, try to really dive into the best thing that, and I'm sure you would agree, the best thing that I learned at our previous agency where we worked together was he was just a savvy finance mind. He really knew how to truly handle the finances. Like, he owned his office and he rented half of it. All those kinds of pieces that really help you have a path for success, that don't get you buried under all these liabilities. That was a big piece that I learned from him. Obviously, he taught me a lot about insurance, how to be a salesman, things like that too. But those finance pieces are things you want to download while you're there as well. Make sure you're learning from that. And I will say too, if you get in there, the toughest thing about being in insurance, in my opinion, is doing the first test. You have to get your license.
Yeah.
That
Right.
license,
Yeah.
that license test is no joke. Like,
Yeah.
they have that there as a gatekeeper. It is a gatekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you went to college, but in college, when I went to college, the gatekeeper course was accounting 1. If you got through accounting 1, you probably keep going in your business school.
Yeah.
If you failed accounting 1, it was they would admit it. They would say, this is our gatekeeper class. If you can't pass this, you're not going to be in the business school. Like, it's just not going to work out for you. I feel like the insurance test is the exact same way. That insurance test is tough. If you fail it, take it again. Do it again. It's worth it. Once you got the license, you never have to take it again, as long as you just do your continuing education courses. I've seen too many people where they're like, oh, I think I'd be great in this industry. They fail the test once, they're embarrassed, and they don't do it again. Yeah. At that point, commit. Just do it again. Do the test again. It is what it is. It's just a couple more weeks and you'll be done.
Right.
So
I agree with all that, and I would add, work your face off. Like, this industry that you're in, that I'm no longer in, and hopefully, if I ever come back,
someday,
if I ever come back and do that, it will be with a lot of money and not, but anyways,
as the boss. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like, I could run a sales team, but what you do, man, is tough. Like, it's rewarding. You're making a lot of money and you're having a lot of success, but but I guess back to my point, you can get proportionately paid to your work, whereas in a lot of other industries you just can't. And I remember having this moment. I remember telling my wife this. I was working as a bartender and as a server, and I was really good at it. I memorized people's order at the table, I remember telling my wife, I said, "I just can't do this job any better. I can't carry chips and salsa to the tables and make drinks any better." And
Spin them on your finger.
yeah,
Yeah.
right, yeah, yeah, and so, I said, "I can't make more money here, and I don't wanna be a manager. That's a terrible job, like, I'd never wanna do that."
Yeah.
And that was before I went into, my first job working at State Farm as a peon, going in and, just cold calling. I made $841, or no, 861, something like that, 800 and something. That was my base for a month's worth of pay, and if you sold, you sold. If you didn't sell, you didn't make any more
Yeah.
money than that, and you probably got fired. And so, like it was almost 100% commission. And I mean, I thought I had gotten the opportunity of the freaking lifetime. Like I thought it was the coolest thing. And so I went. I mean, I worked like crazy hours, and I learned a lot about myself and about business. Just watching how do you incentivize people? How do you get more sales? Well, you follow this proven thing that's worked for every other person that's been in your position, and then you just kind of follow the steps and quote more, and then you follow up better, and then learn how to talk to people not like a moron. You learn how to talk to them a little bit, more professional. And still, one of the big things, the coaching for me in the beginning was you're doing all the right things. You're just not inspiring confidence. It kind of sounds like you don't know what you're talking about, even though you kind of do. And, so it's inspire confidence when you talk to people and all that, I forget who it is. Maybe it's Alex Hormozy that said this is, if you can learn to do the sales process, you can survive in any industry. And
Yeah.
I learned a ton. So yeah,
Hmm.
being proportionally paid when you're living below the poverty level in income is a huge deal because you can literally work your way out of it. You can literally I remember my first $5,000 month in insurance. And this was coming fresh off the heels of working for $8 an hour in the mall and then working as a bartender where I was making $2.31 an hour or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yep.
And then thinking, like, holy crap, I'm going to be a millionaire, And
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't know you had been a bartender, but that was my job out of college before this as well.
get
And
out of here.
yeah, so I felt the same way. So um in a way, not completely, don't get me wrong, but we're sort of recession proof because like you said, if you have a process that works, if you have a system in place that works, how much money you make is determined by how much time you put into it, really, or how much maybe not time, but the process that you've put in place determines how much money you're going to make. It's not a cap, like you said. There's no cap
Yep.
to it. So how well you can fine tune your process, the sky's the limit on the money. So
Yeah,
um,
totally.
that really gives you some peace of mind on those kinds of things when you know that, hey, if I just really hone my whole process and really nail how I do my job, the money will just keep coming and it'll be more and more and more. So, and I'll say this too, if you're thinking about getting into it, and especially if you're starting at the bottom and working for another agent, it is not a get rich quick game.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
talked to a guy yesterday. He said, "Oh, I used to have a State Farm office." And those are always funny conversations when
Mhm.
I'm quoting his insurance, and he used to be a State Farm agent. And he
Yep.
said, "I used to have a State Farm office." I said, "Just out of curiosity, why aren't you doing it anymore?"
Yeah.
And he said, "I just wasn't making enough money fast enough."
Yeah.
So it's not that kind of game. Eventually
Sure.
you're going to be making a lot of money down the road, but it's definitely more of a game for the young man. you
Yeah.
know
Yeah. Yeah.
Once you get to a certain age, you've got kids, and uh, especially if you got a bunch of kids or kids getting closer to college. Like, I talked to a guy who was starting an agency at 50. I was like, good luck to you, because those first few years you've created a certain lifestyle that's going to be really tough to
Totally
maintain
agree.
with the
Yeah.
first couple of years of how much money you make. You really got to budget it for a couple of years and just really get after it. And
Yep.
it really starts to ramp up after that. So yeah, it's definitely a get rich slow game, but once you're there, man, it's nice.
It's all golf and whatever else, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yep.
the way you make money is you sell a policy and then you get paid a commission. So
Mhm.
say it's 10%. So you sell $1,000 policy, which is not hard to do. You make 10% of that over that year, and then or however they pay you, and that's not a lot of money. But then you do that again the next year, and again the next year, and then again the next year, and you're still getting paid on that first year. So the commissions, they stack, and that's called building a book, which is position you want to be in. Having a $3 million, $4 million PNC book, where you can pay staff to do a lot of the defense work 5, 6 years in, you're a very wealthy individual, and you have a lot of your time back, and it's appealing to me. But I'm secretly glad that I didn't, like, we're having a lot of success with the e-commerce stuff, um, but it's only because I steered my focus away from, like, there was a part of me that just it felt so random that some lady came into the Mexican restaurant that I worked at and was like, "Hey, I think you'd be good at selling insurance. Come sell insurance for pennies on the dollar, and we'll pay you next to nothing." And then, you go and I don't know. I didn't want that to be my thing, and so I'm kind of glad that I found my own thing. It's funny. The agent that we worked for together, he's the one who introduced me to reselling, um, and he doesn't know it. He brought in a motivational video of Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V,
Yeah.
and Gary V's like, "Yeah, man, go for it. You need to work hard, do better. Really grind for the blah blah blah." And then at the end of the video, he said, "And by the way, you can, if you have debt, you can go pick stuff up at yard sales and sell it on eBay, and then you can not have debt." And I was like, I didn't hear
Yeah.
any of the first part. I just heard the last little bit, and that's how I started reselling. And
Yeah.
so that was way back. But
That's hilarious.
well, let's before, I know you got to go here in 10 minutes. For anybody that's watching that's in my position, Amazon, they want you to have general liability insurance if you go over 10,000 a month in sales. What's your recommendation? How do I cover myself? Because I'm selling everything from bread flour to Nike shoes to baby food to coffee. Like I'm selling all kind of random stuff, and I'm selling it mostly on Amazon, but also on Walmart's platform, eBay's platform, a couple other places. What would you recommend for business insurance for someone like me?
Yeah. So I'd say it's hard to it's hard to just say, hey, this company is the best. I'm not going to say that because in two
Yeah, sure.
months it may not be the case. uh,
Yeah,
Insurance is changing so fast right now. It's actually pretty tough to keep up with their requirements, their standards, the
sure.
rate changes. So I'm not going to be like, hey, this company is the best one to go with. I will say I've got like 9 companies and I quote them all at the same time. So
Okay,
as far as the details of what you should get, I think you said that they're requiring $1 million liability. Little tidbit that I would recommend for you is to just go ahead and get a $2 million one, because the difference between a million and 2 million is not, it's not double. It seems like it would just be, oh, it's double the price. It's
sure.
not. It's exponentially less than double. And so if you're going to get one, if you're getting that $1 million policy, just get a $2 million one, because it's just, you might as well. CYA,
If
get
something
it
ever
done.
happened, yeah,
Yeah.
sure, yeah,
Yeah. Now that on the other side piece of that too, it's not a requirement, but I have heard this happen a couple of times where sometimes people had their resale stuff in their basement, and the issue with that is water goes downhill. And so if you there you go.
yeah. I'm in my
So
basement
yeah,
now.
but I know Cody knows insurance, so he's got his stuff covered in some kind of way. So that's what I was going to say. If you have it in a certain place where it may be exposed to the elements, specifically for water, something like that, I would get some kind of a blanket policy for that in some kind of way. Usually, my best recommendation is just to get a storage unit and have it actually get the storage unit insurance policy.
Okay,
But however you want to do that is everybody's choice. I would say the other best choice is pick something that's not at the bottom. The gravity will pull the water down, and that
sure.
kind of situation. But again, everybody's going to do it differently. You do how you want to do it. I'm just approaching it from the insurance side of things. It's definitely a good idea to get some kind of blanket policy for that stuff that you're reselling. You can usually get that on like a business owner's policy or something like that.
Yeah, they're
So that
requiring you to have the liability, but they're not
mhm,
requiring you to cover the actual stuff,
the
which
actual stuff, right?
could,
Which is an
bankrupt
investment.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. Which you're not getting the stuff for free most of the time. So,
Sure.
yeah, like you said, it may bankrupt you if you've put an investment into all these things. If you've got these Pokemon cards in there that you're trying to sell from somebody else, if you're switching from you bought it from somebody else and you're going to sell it to somebody else, you made that investment. So yeah, protect your investment. I mean, that's the best thing I can say about it, because I've had multiple people say, I had this stuff, water came through and I lost most of it, and so
Yep.
it can happen. And I know I'm looking like the insurance guy telling you to get another line of insurance,
You're like, you need another million in
but
this?
that's just, hey, you brought me here as the insurance guy. I'm going to tell you what I think is right. So
Yeah.
obviously, everybody's got to do what's in their budget. I would say at the very least, make sure it's a place that's going to stay dry and going to stay safe from fire. That would be my
Yeah, that
number
makes sense.
number one thing. Yeah. Mhm.
Cool. All right. Well, man, we'll close it up here. I really appreciate all the the tips, and then just sharing your story a little bit on here. If somebody wants to work with you, what states can you like can you be their insurance agent in?
Yeah, so that's I appreciate you asking. If they want to work specifically with my agency, I am in Georgia and Alabama. I'm working on getting Tennessee right now as
Okay.
well, but I have team members in Florida, South Carolina, Virginia, and pretty much all of the surrounding states for me. Like just past that, Mississippi. I
Southeast.
can do Arkansas, Texas.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Pretty much, if you want to talk to Goosehead about that option, I probably have somebody I could get you connected with,
Cool.
who does the same model as I do in a different state. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're pretty much in every state at this point. I don't know. I don't have a personal contact in every single one of those states, but I have somebody who does exactly what I do, who's been trained the way that I have, who would love to help you. So any state, let me know. I'd be happy to help you out. Best way would be you can just text me at 678
Okay.
234 8762. Just give me a text.
Beautiful.
Give me
Love
your
it.
information. Yeah.
We'll see.
Shoot it right at me.
Let's see if you get blown up or not. This is gonna be on my YouTube forever, so you might be getting
Okay.
texts from. I'll
My
put
number's
a
gonna
link.
change and they're gonna be mad. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I'll put a link below too, so they can get that.
Cool.
Well, one thing just a quick testimonial. Daniel looked at my personal stuff, and then he looked at my home, my auto, and then you can get advice. That just stuff you wouldn't think about. Stuff that is not obvious to you. And the worst thing that can happen as a business owner is you have something happen, and you don't have any coverage for it at all. Or it's insurance favorite word, excluded,
Right.
in air quotes. Yeah.
Right.
And
Yep.
so somebody like Daniel can help you with that. So yeah, I'll put a link. I don't know, some kind of link where people can reach out to you, and then they got your cell phone number now. So there's that. And
Yep.
cool, man. Well, I really appreciate it. Where can we find you on social media? What's your Facebook page and stuff like that?
Yeah. So facebook.com/Goosehead Daniel Cox. Actually, let me check that, because they were working on changing that. I don't want to be wrong. They did say that they were going to change that. Let me see.
That's funny.
Actually, let me just pull it up on my phone.
Beautiful.
We're killing the end of the ending here.
I love it. My motto is I'm not trying to be fancy on here, so
Yeah.
I don't even edit these videos. So we're just we're straight through.
So we'll just be here. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, sorry. Should have known this before.
No, I should have told you to do it before. Yeah, I'll probably start an insurance agency, or I'll buy one. I think there could be an opportunity where there's somebody who, like, I know someone who's bought an agency and is completely overwhelmed, and I feel like with that you could come in and get in a little bit cheaper that way. I could be wrong though. That could be a massive headache. So.
It just depends on how you want to do it. One thing that's weird about that is, you might have been here when we had this issue, but sometimes when you are in an agency and another agency closes and you pick up part of that book, you're really just dealing with a lot of angry people who wish they were still with the other agent.
Yep.
So there is definitely some headache to that, of people that are
Yeah.
just not really that happy that they're with you. But they're already there. A lot of the customers, you can, with someone like you, Cody, people are going to like you. So if you take the time to get to know all of them and you say what you got going on, hey, I'm the new agent for you. What can I do for you?
Yeah.
The people will resonate with that. So for you, it would be a lot of extra work, but a different kind of work. Because as you know, if you start a brand new agency, you're doing a bunch of work too. you're,
Right.
you're making a
Yeah.
bunch of cold calls and trying to build it up. So yeah, I mean, there's both sides of it. There's both sides of it.
Mhm.
I would say the other thing too, if you're going to start your own, you really got to have the capital ready to go, because I'm assuming at that point you've already got a full blown staff. You got to pay all the staff.
Yep.
You got to have that staff set aside in escrow, the
Mhm.
salary for them in escrow for the year. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, real quick, back to the point. I can't find the link. I would just say if you're on Facebook,
Send it to me after, yeah.
if you're on Facebook, search for Goosehead Insurance Daniel Cox. You'll see me there. I'll be there.
Or just text him. Just shoot
You
him a
can
text.
text me, and I'll send you the link. Text me, and I'll send you the link, or you can email me daniel.cox@goosehead.com.
Perfect. Awesome, man. Well, hey, we'll cut off there. Don't lose touch. And I'm sure I'll have some stuff about my personal insurance at some point,
Yeah,
sooner rather than later. So, hey, thank you again. I really appreciate it.
yeah, man, it was a pleasure. Have a good one.
See you, dude. Bye.